Hi, my name is Vicky Martinez-Paz, and this is my Intertext Performance. Humans have a lot on their minds right now. One of those things consuming their time is the COVID-19 pandemic, which started in China and within just a couple of months spread to the rest of the world. It's scary to think about how if you just want to get away, you can't, because the whole entire world is experiencing the same thing. We're all staying home, staying away, and looking forward to brighter days. It has been very interesting tracking the ecological as well as environmental impacts the stay-at-home orders have had across the world. Climate change is not a newfound enemy, but rather an old foe for which the younger generations now have to recognize as a handicap for their futures. Sometime last year, a video surfaced and circulated throughout the internet. The video rang to the tune of What a Wonderful World, but the imagery in the video was rather heartbreaking and paradoxical to say the least. There were so many images of the horrible things happening in the world that many seem to think they're immune to. Scenes of wild crown fires, massive oil spills, and unethical animal harvesting tactics were put on direct display. That's where I drew the idea of what to intertext. Louis Armstrong's song, delightful and with such a happy meaning around it, intertexted with a harsh reality of how we are mistreating our planet and how quickly it has bounced back after just a few days of humans stopping their operations. The article that I chose to intertext, COVID-19 and Climate Change, The Unexpected Pairing, summarizes some of the major changes that the world has gone through since people were forced to stay in their homes. Humans have a hard time considering climate projections for the next 20 to 30 years down the road, but being quarantined for the next week is a stark and scary reality. The virus has already had positive effects on the earth and climate change. I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. In China, factories were shuttered and streets were cleared to stop the spread of the virus. People slowed down, stayed home, and most things came to a halt. And the skies cleared. The average number of good quality air days increased by 21.5% in February. Satellite images released by NASA and the European Space Agency show a dramatic reduction in nitrogen dioxide emissions in major Chinese cities between January and February. The cloud of toxic gas that was once very visible above industrial powerhouses had nearly disappeared. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Between February 3rd to March 1st, carbon dioxide emissions were down at least 25% because of the measures to contain the virus. China contributes 30% of the world's carbon dioxide emissions annually. The CREA estimates that this is nearly 200 million tons of carbon dioxide. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." Venice's usually murky canal waters began to get clear, with fish visible in the water. One analysis by the Washington Post found that the most dramatic emissions drop was observed over northern Italy. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Major U.S. cities have shown similar reactions to the virus, such as New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. In 5 days, San Francisco saw a 40% decrease in particulate matter levels as a result of the shelter-in-place order to contain the virus. New York City saw a 28% drop in the same time, and Seattle saw a 32% drop. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Experts warn that the observed reductions are temporary unless major infrastructure or societal changes are adopted. These two pieces work in harmony, bringing to light the cultural message of environmental justice. The song creates beautiful imagery of the planet, and the facts from the article remind us what we are doing to basically throw away that beautiful imagery. I changed my tone of voice while performing to differentiate the pieces. I used a harsher voice to read out the facts so that they would be taken more seriously, and a calmer, more soothing voice to recite the song in order to not take away from the pretty lyrics. In our class reading, Performance as Resistance by Gray and Van Oosting, they state that in most instances, resistant performances aim to change the intended effect by superimposing some different intention on the text speaker or author. These texts superimpose each other. The excerpts from the article make the song appear as if it were written about a different world, since there are so many facts that point out how it is not such a wonderful world. In contrast, the song gives the harsh facts hope. Yes, human influence harms the parts of Mother Nature that make her so beautiful, but we learn that she can recover quickly. These two influences together prove the point that humans are a parasitic species to the earth, but we don't have to be. It's more than feasible to live synchronously with the rest of nature. The graphic that I created to accompany this assignment reflects the effects that our lifestyle has on the planet. Pollution, overpopulation, disease, drought, fires, and toxic air are all part of the harsh reality that humans are unwilling to accept. We do so many things that harm the planet and pay no attention to it. As soon as this is over, we're going to go back to being greedy consumers and push factories into overdrive to compensate for the things we could not buy or do during the quarantine period. Instead of living to fulfill meaningless satisfactions, we could take a different approach. It is a common misconception that you have to give up a lot to live green, but the reality is that you just have to be more mindful. In an article published by the Earth Institute from Columbia University, The 35 Easiest Ways to Reduce Your Carbon Footprint by Renee Cho, Cho goes into detail on how to easily save the planet. Some of my favorite tips found in this article include, but are not limited to, the following. Choose organic and local in-season foods. Reduce your food waste. Compost. Don't buy fast fashion. Wash your clothing in cold water. Avoid items with excess packaging. Use your own reusable bags. Change incandescent light bulbs to LEDs. Drive less, and if you must fly, choose an economy class, non-stop flight. If we keep using the excuse of, I'm just one person, how can I make a difference? Then nothing will change. What people do not seem to understand is that every action has a ripple effect. The same way that one person can spread the coronavirus to such a large quantity of people, one person can spread green, sustainable techniques. Humans influence each other every single day. The question is, what kind of influence do you want to have? I encourage you to try to fight the statistic that as soon as all of this is over, we're going to push our factories worldwide into overdrive. One person is all it takes. Be the change you want to see in the world. Thanks, guys.